Hi, this is John from Options Trading Pilot. You'll hear from Guillermo in a little bit. Sunday night, looking at a slow week, potentially. It's a very short week with Thanksgiving. So I'm expecting, in brief, I'm expecting the markets to be potentially a little more volatile in a short week like this. We are in a bull market, so I expect bull markets generally will trend up on light volume. Hopefully we'll see that net this week. Bitcoin is up over 59,000, so our trades in Bitcoin and some of the alternative coins, cryptocurrencies are doing really well. Ethereum continues to do well. Corn, soybeans, wheat, some of the other commodities are chugging along kind of in a consolidation phase, it seemed like. Over the last couple trading days. I'm a little concerned with oil here. We're really at a point of support. It's down about 62 cents on this at time of recording on Sunday night. So I'm a little concerned about that. I am long oil, probably heavier than I should be. But if it holds this point, I think we're going to be okay with those trades. Little surprised with bonds, interest rates, especially the 30-year. I got a little tied up on that. I expected yields to go up last week, and the 30-year has just not followed. So, but it is again, 30 years hitting a resistance level. So we'll see how it goes and if it can break through and really move up from here. That's really all I have for this week. There's a few earnings trades that we have that we'll be promoting on our channel, optionstradingpilot.com, where you can join us and watch us trade and then decide if you like those trades based on your risk profiles. If you join in to trade or not is up to you.
Hello and welcome to Options Trading Pilot. I'm your Chief Trading Pilot, Guillermo, also known as Proforma 24. Today we're going to review what we're seeing for the week upcoming. I should call it the weekly update. And we're going to review some upcoming earnings, namely Zoom, GPS, Gap, DE, John Deere, and PDD. And so it should be a fun-filled week. Why? Because we shouldn't see too much volatility, because volume will be low, and when volume is low, it means that the retail investor is investing. So I anticipate that we should have a nice, small up week with these earnings potentially being really good. But I do want to comment. Thanks, John. If you notice, John's wearing an FSU shirt. That's kind of like our nemesis, or kind of like the team that we always love to beat. When the year started, I thought they were going to be, we were going to beat them to a pulp, but then we now have lost our coach, the Gators have, and we're looking for a coach. So if somehow AD Strickland gets a hold of this video, I'll make my vote for Mike Leach out of Mississippi State, and the reason is because the guy is a genius on the football field. I'm not the first one to say it. I've always respected how he played the game. Really love that air raid offense. I think if you put some fantastic players around him, it would be a fun thing to watch. Obviously, recruiting super important, and he's not known to be an amazing recruiter. So anyway, I still put my 2 cents in for him. Think a little bit differently. And so John, shame on him wearing that shirt. We don't like that. Actually, I grew up a Miami fan, and so being a Florida fan, I every now and then I do cheer for FSU, especially if they're going up against somebody outside of basically the SEC in Florida. But and I have a lot of friends that went to FSU. So here we go. Let's do this real quickly. I short on time today, but the favorable industry, as you can see, it's oil and natural gas. But my favorite transportation is there, and of course the semiconductor is there as well. you can see from the list at what the leading industries are and what's coming up. Here we go with the transportation. Obviously, gold and silver have been going up. Be careful with those. Why? Because they get, I think they're manipulated heavily. So as you can see the chart, natural gas lost at 513. I like to follow. It was a pretty heavy candle. It doesn't look like, let's see, it looks like if it goes below around right where it's at, maybe a little bit lower, like 428 or so, then we might see a further decline. So I know it shows that it's leading. I still think it's a really good area to trade. So just know where you are in that chart. But as far as trading it, it's likely that if we don't see this bounce here soon around this price, so right now taking just a real safe bull put or just getting into a long out of the money call might be okay. But overall, it's looks like it does want to go down. As you can see, then the next thing that we're looking at is this is the weekly chart for the SPY. So if you can factor in this area, right, which is COVID time, which has been straight up, completely straight up. And Friday we had a negative day, very slightly negative day, but we're still bullish there. And the VIX, last week we talked about the VIX going up a little bit. Again, the VIX should probably come down over the week just because we won't see much. So I do want to get into real quick into some of the earnings that we should be seeing. And so here we go. I was looking at the bond markets, right? Just inflation's rampant. We should see long-term interest rates go up, but guess what? They're going down. And we can see that recovery in the 30-year treasury. So really interesting times. This should not be happening, by the way. Typically what you want to see is inflation going up and interest rates going up with it. So here we go. Zoom. Once the darling of the COVID area. Let's look at the weekly. Look at hit 588. But if you look at Fibonacci declines, we should see it go down to 50% of this. Just eyeballing it, we should hit 588. We were at like 68, so that's 500, so 250. We should be right around where we are, which is a 50% or so. So again, this shows a very bearish stance. It lost money on Friday. Looking at the weekly, this is a big trend down, very hard down. The MACD 2 lines, the aggressive one, you can see that it's pointing up, but the RSI is going down. So just because of how the market has been, it wants to do the opposite of what it's showing you, right? As far as the earnings are concerned, we will take a bullish stance on this one. Really, the only little keys that we're seeing is the MACD being up, and then on the weekly, we can see it's like we're at the bottom of the barrel. We're very, very oversold. So again, I would probably just take a bullish stance, just a safe bullish stance on this one. Okay, so GPS, they report in the morning. Let me see. Let me make sure that's the case. Let me make sure that's the case. Keep pressing the wrong screen. Here we go. No, they don't. They report on Tuesday afternoon. So here we go. GPS. At a high 37 back in May, and you can see that it's above its big key point. It's right at this resistance point. Again, it's like we're looking at the weekly, and yeah, it has recovered, but this price action here is pretty serious of more selling than buying. It was rejected at the Fibonacci. We should see it come down on the weekly, but the MACD is telling us otherwise. And the RSI is turning down, but it's above that 20 line. That's important. Look at the daily. Daily again, rejection, just losing, right? It is really in an overbought area on the daily. So we may need to go bearish, even though I'm tempted to just go opposite of what we're seeing. That's what's been happening. It happened to us last week. If you go over my reviews last week, I think I was wrong on all of them. So here we go. Fortunately, because we're very adept at moving quickly, there's some ways, and you can come join us, the options trading pilot, and see how do you save a trade, how actually make money off a trade that you lost, right? So those are some of the key things that you have to do, and really you have to stay on your toes. And if you have aftermarket trading and you have enough buying dollars, then you could do really well as far as like, hey, I was wrong on this trade, but let's save this trade by making money on it, either shorting after hours or buying or being really aggressive at the open. So here we go. So yeah, I think look, as far as inflation is concerned, one of the areas that does experience inflation is the small retail area. So Gap should do okay. So we're going to take a small bullish stance on this one. And then the next one we're going to look at is John Deere, my good old favorite, right? That's Wednesday in the morning report. All right, some negotiations for their unions. You can see on the weekly it's very negative. It's sold off on Friday. That's back-to-back selling. That's this right here is very bearish. You can see the selling is heavy. You can see like the MACD is negative. RSI is pointing down. So everything on the daily is negative. On the weekly, we see some recovery. We're positive RSI, but it's pointing down. And then yeah, we're still negative week for the week. So let's look at a 15-minute chart. Looks like we've leveled off, and that MACD shows like there's recovery. So I think again, right, like when you look at the longer term, gosh, it's except for this MACD, which is still below this 20 line, right? Except for the MACD, this is tough, man. This is tough because you're getting hammered here, and it's recovering. And then you're going to say, let's go bearish, right? But look at this formation. Boom, 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 consolidation. And it wants to come down. Last time it did two negatives, we got positive, but below, but this is an earnings play. So yeah, I'm going to change my mind here, man. Well, let's see. Sitting right at this value. Somebody's saving. Okay, I'm going to go slightly bullish on this. All right, PDD, wow, this one, it's made us a lot of money, but you got to be on your toes. Look at this chart. Reports on Friday morning. It hit 512, sitting at 81. It started its climb up when it was like at 20. That's a 10-fold change. Still not hitting that 52% drop. Right at its key point right now with volume, except for the one down here at 30, 40 or so. Again, the weekly shows bearish. The daily shows bearish. The 15-minute shows like somebody just came in and bought it, very similar to GPS, right? Again, somebody bought it. Yeah. I'm going to go bullish on that one as well. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about interest rates. I want to talk a little bit about inflation. So basically interest rates, they go up when inflation goes up, the long-term ones. The Fed can really only control the short-term part of the curve. And so really the market dictates what happens to the latter part of the curve. But without getting too deep into it, the things that are happening now like aren't normal. Okay, so you have to be very quick, very maneuverable. Buying this dip it's going to create this idea of like, hey, it fell, is going to come right back up. But what happens when it doesn't? Because when it doesn't, given this market and the training that we have, it's going to be really significantly down, right? So be ready for that. Like, be ready, even if you have holdings that you don't want to sell or you can't sell for XYZ reason. We can teach you, right? We can teach you how to use your puts, when to apply them, what to look for, like at what point, because puts can get expensive, especially when the downside has already started happening. There's ways to offset that. And so really is reading the graphs, reading other charts that I'm not going through here. If not, it'd be a super long class here or lesson. But basically, it's like keeping your eyes open on the interest rate numbers. If whenever you see that long-term number go below the short-term number, like, keep your eyes open, follow the housing market, make sure you're really following that. It makes up more than 60 to 70% if you just, on a ballpark estimate of our entire market. So obviously that moves everything. So anyway, just be careful, have fun this week. This week should be a good trading week as far as like small gains. So don't be too greedy, obviously, and really, like, on probably Wednesday there'd be, I think the market's open on Friday, but that should be super light trading. I'd probably call it quits on Wednesday and don't trade on Friday. Make sure if you're one of those that keeps heavy cash positions or very minimal swing plays, that's probably a good idea, just to be safe, right? Monday could be just one of those really bad days, but I'm not looking at anything historical. I'm just looking at what's due. But again, this infrastructure bill is a slow burn. It's not your regular stimulus bill. Infrastructure is supposed to fund things as they come, projects come, whereas stimulus packages, right, it's just a check, right? You get a check and that's it. Like, there's no more. So this slow burn, what I mean by that is, like, once it gets started, right, it feeds into the prices. People have money, people are buying stuff, so inflation keeps going up. So hence, we have to look at the areas where inflation is showing up. And so the question is, where's that going to show up first? And obviously, commodities, things that you have to buy, that's where it shows up, because people won't stop buying them. Things like gasoline, you've seen the gas pump go way up. So again, really have to focus on probably commodities, things that people will be using, that are necessary. And so anyway, just stay safe. If you have questions, use your stop losses, be really good about that. Optionstradingpilot.com, come see us. You guys have a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe.